Good to see you. It's been a while. Hey there, it's Rick Turoczy. Trying something new. It's an experiment. Thanks for joining me in this experiment. Really appreciate it. I blurred my background so you know which version of me you're watching right now. This is the Silicon Florist version of me. I don't know if I'll keep it. We'll figure it out. This week it felt like there was a lot more activity in the Portland startup community. And so I am hoping to maybe just give you a format that's easier to digest. All of that stuff, like while I enjoy writing about it, posting on the blog, sending out a newsletter, sharing it on LinkedIn or Threads or whatever they're calling those other social platforms today, I thought it might be helpful to just give you a little bit of a rundown via video. And that way you don't have to read all that stuff because let's be honest, reading is difficult. Sometimes hard to find the time. So let's see if this helps you get a handle on what's going on in the Portland startup community and Oregon startup community this week. Okay, let's get going. I'm going to kind of go in descending order from stories that have been most popular, that I've seen folks taking most interest in, to some of the newer stories that may have hit a little later in the week. First and foremost, got an email from Juan Barraza this week about VirtuLab and the fact that they did not receive funding from Business Oregon. For folks not familiar with VirtuLab, they are really focused on climate change solutions, primarily climate tech. They've relied on funding from the state of Oregon and Business Oregon for years and years, and they did not receive that funding for this biennium. So I've shared an email from Juan that kind of outlines what's going to happen with the organization, where they're going to need to make cuts, and what the potential path forward is. So if you're interested in VirtuLab or climate tech solutions, I suggest you follow that link. For today, this one's timely. Probably should move it up front, so I'll do that when I edit. Upstart Collective, which is a co-working space that focuses on early stage startup founders, they are kicking off a monthly happy hour, which takes place today, Friday, October 6th, and will continue for the first Fridays of every month going forward. So if you're interested in connecting with a bunch of startup founders, maybe socializing a little bit in person, which I know the community needs, Upstart Collective is going to be focused on hosting those happy hours on an ongoing basis. So even if you miss it, don't see this in time or whatever, or maybe you're already busy, take the opportunity to swing by Upstart Collective and meet some folks. Next one, First Row Partners out of Seattle, which is an early stage firm that invests around here and actually does a lot of education for early stage angels and early stage startups. They've announced a new fund called the Ensemble Fund that is really a one and done fund that will allow a group of angels to collaborate on due diligence and make one investment in one startup. I think the check size is like $250. If you're interested in participating in that, follow the link, apply, at least read up on what their expectations are for a company, and who knows? Maybe you can find a new investor in the Ensemble Fund. This is a big one that I'm surprised didn't get more pickup. The Provenance Chain Network, which is really one of the only blockchain plays that ever made sense to me here locally and has continued to survive and thrive. They just announced they've received SBIR Level 3 funding, and they've secured a deal with the Space Force, which is just amazing. I mean, that's a big deal. If you're interested in acronyms, this is a good post to read, because as with any federal organizations, there are a lot of acronyms in there. Curious why this didn't get more pickup. Hope more folks start talking about it. It's a really big deal that the feds have not only kind of leaned into this effort, but that Provenance Chain Network is getting some business out of it. And for those of you who aren't familiar with that startup, basically what they do is they're working with very complex supply chains. They don't necessarily have to be complex supply chains, but really helping people understand where things come from in the supply chain and track those ingredients or elements as they become parts of other products, so that you can kind of trace back where stuff came from, within the supply chain. Another important one, Sober October. If you're participating in that, just wanted to remind folks that there's a Portland startup called BuzzCut. It's an app that you can download that helps you find establishments, bars, restaurants, grocery stores that carry non-alcoholic beverages or make non-alcoholic cocktails or have zero proof spirits, so that if you're working to maintain sobriety or experience Sober October, you can still do all the things you like to do at the places you like to do them, and it will help you find those places. They're also throwing a party later in the month, which I will cover in the future, but I think that's another important one. Pitch Latino, if you're not familiar, it's the largest pitch competition for Latino, Latina, Latinx founded companies, definitely on the West Coast, maybe in the nation. Don't quote me on that, but it's a pretty big deal. And it's coming up near the end of October. So if you're interested in attending that, make sure and grab a ticket. They always go fast. If you're interested in pitching, take a look and see if the pitch applications are still open, because it would be good for you to go there. And speaking of events that take place, just a reminder that both Bend Venture Conference, which is one of the largest pitch competitions on the West Coast, it is in its 20th year, so it's one of the longest running ones. That's coming up in the middle of October, in the middle of the state, Bend, Oregon, hence the Bend Venture Conference. You can still get tickets to attend that, and they are making announcements about who will be pitching and all that kind of stuff. And then, full disclosure, I'm the co-founder of Built Oregon, but also remind you that the Built Festival is taking place on October 17th in Bend, Oregon. It's a whole innovation week down in Bend. So if you're interested in learning more about what's going on in the Bend startup community, connecting with people down there, this is a great week to head down to Bend. And not this week, but that week is a great week to head down to Bend and kind of explore what's going on there. So that's about it. See, that didn't take very long. Just wanted to run you through it. If you like this concept and think I should be doing this on a regular basis, or, you just need my monotone voice as a sleep aid, let me know. Drop a comment, leave a like, whatever. I may start doing this just because it also helps me keep track of what's going on any given week. I have a hard time doing that too. So thanks for tuning in. Looking forward to your feedback. And I hope this news about the Portland startup community and the Oregon startup community was helpful. I'll see you next time.